Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice, brought to you by Photography as an Art, Harvey Randman, Master Photographer, located at 1307 North San Fernando Boulevard, Burbank, California. Attorney Ron Irwin's book, Haiku, Style, Passion, Art. Author Larry Buford's book, To the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Breinstein's Actor Training School and Actor Space. Roll it, Tony.
I did my best to just play one song after another. And after we got through one song, he'd play another song. We had to learn that song. And so after we got through about 12 songs, unbelievably, everything was being recorded, everything was being taped. So he goes, what's your name again? And I said, oh, it's Frank. And he goes, and who have you played with, Frank? Frank, like that. And I said, well, I played with Martha Davis. And he goes, oh, Martha Davis goes, one of my favorite singers. And I goes, well, me too. I go, she's great. And he goes, yeah, I think she.
Okay, Ron.
Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest today is a Grammy-nominated platinum record-recorded musician, guitarist, songwriter, composer, and record producer. This very talented young man has worked as a musical director and multi-instrumentalist for the renowned group The Who and Roger Daltrey, and many, many goes on and on. The list just goes on and on. If you saw it, you went, wow. You just saw our guest discussing an audition to work for a guy named Mick Jagger as an example. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome veteran artist, Frank Sims. Frank,
well,
how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. When you read your bio, my goodness, you worked hard and long, sir.
I did.
You know, it's one of those things that people just don't understand. I say, when I read him, I say, wow, impressive.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, it's amazing because I came to LA with absolutely no nepotistic ties. You know, I didn't know anybody, a soul in LA with the music industry or any other industry. And so I came out early. I was precocious and moved out on my own when I was 15.
Wow.
And came to LA, and I've just been, at it like a juggernaut. But enjoying, I mean, my love for music has carried me and sustained me and even saved me, So really, creativity is the purpose of my life in a sense, and it has sustained me through the hard years and through the good times and the bad times.
Got you. Now, where did you grow up at?
I grew up in Japan partly on an army base. My dad was a legal attaché for General MacArthur, and then he became a judge advocate for U.S. Army headquarters. Judge advocate is just a fancy name for a lawyer, as you know. And he worked at the U.S. Army headquarters, Japan. And so we lived in Tokyo. I was born in Tokyo as a U.S. citizen because I was under U.S. jurisdiction. Right. And then we moved to an Army base called Camp Zama. Maybe you know where that is.
Heard the name?
Camp Zama, U.S. Army headquarters. And so I lived there for about 5 years. That's where I started playing guitar when I was 10 years old. Wow. And we had a lot of music in the house. I remember buying our hi-fi, stereo, this black lacquered job. My mom bought it, and we used to listen to the Platters and Ray Charles, and a lot of black music, I grew up on it. But I also later listened to like Beatles, and then some more rock music like Hendrix and things like this. And so I grew up, my first band was band. We played all kinds of music, and some R&B and some rock and roll, and I played my first gig when I was in the 6th grade.
Wow. You were fluent in Japanese, I take it?
Yeah, we spoke both languages at home. My mother's Japanese, so we spoke Japanese. In the house, we spoke English as well. So I don't have an accent when I speak Japanese. So I have that funny story I told you about.
Please tell us again. Let everybody hear this one. This one's crazy.
South Pasadena, I don't know. That's kind of jumping way ahead. But, so anyway, to make a long story short, I grew up in Japan. My father retired at 15. It was my time to come to the States. My brother went to college, and I was supposed to live in this retired, retirement community of Solana Beach, like 30 miles north of San Diego. And I had grown up in Tokyo. I had a record deal in Japan. I lived a very stimulating life, and I gave it all up, and was experiencing cultural shock. I came to LA, people mistook me as a Latino. The local gangs wanted to know, which gang do you want to join, the Tortilla Flats or the Eden Gardens? And I go, hey, I'm not Latino. And things like that, so those are my encounters. And I couldn't stand living in this bedroom community of Solana Beach. It was just, there's nothing to do. People either smoke pot or surf. There was nothing else to do. So I asked my dad, hey, what do you think? I won't quit school. Just let me go to LA and meet some musicians. And he said, well, as long as you don't quit school. And I was always a good student. So, I didn't really want to quit school. I got myself into Fairfax High in West Hollywood.
Yes.
And I was 15, and they knew I didn't have a guardian. But so my, so-called, de facto guardian was this college student at USC, and he was, on drugs and whatever. And he was my guardian. And I signed my own absentee notices for Fairfax High School. Please excuse Frank from his last week of absences, for he had a cold. And I'd signed my name, and they knew it. Gotcha. And so anyway, those were my early years, 15, 16, 17. I played in a progressive band. Later, I played in an R&B band with a guy named Rutledge from South Central, and I had some amazing experiences along the way. And then I got scouted by Martha Davis of the Motels. I don't know if you know the Motels, but they had their biggest hits, "Only the Lonely Can Play." Yes. Yeah, okay, so anyway, so I joined her. We wrote songs together. I became her producer. I started receiving weekly checks from Capitol Records. I thought, wow, this is like, on my road to making it, It was my first experience of getting a paycheck from a record company. And so that was really something. And then that led me, playing with Martha led me to playing with Don Henley. I got a chance to audition for Don Henley of the Eagles. And I was up against about 12 guys, and they were all named guitarists. And he happened to like me. He liked my simple setup.
Yes.
I knew all the songs really well. I hadn't really intended to be a sideman for anybody, because I always just wanted to have my own band and write my own songs,
Yes.
But he liked me, and so he offered me a job. At the time, I was making no money, and so he offered me like, $2,750 a week. And I said, I think I better take this, because I had just fathered a child, Jessica, and I had to make money. So that definitely puts us in the groove of having to take things that maybe we feel we're compromising our lives a bit, but you just have to do it out of necessity, to make a livelihood. And so that's what I did. I joined Don Henley, and I had a 20-year career with him, co-writing songs.
Because in 2000, you and Henley did a documentary together, didn't you?
We've done a lot of filming.
Yeah,
a lot of filming. Yeah. And I've done some documentary work with the Who as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So so I came from like no connection. Well, I had that record deal in Japan, but that didn't mean I had any connections in LA.
Gotcha. And
so it's really pretty amazing when I look back. I go, man, zero connections. I landed in LA in a Greyhound bus station. And, I had visions of LA, like, the city of stars and dreams, and I landed in Greyhound bus station. And the first person I met is a guy in a black trench coat, and he shows me balloons. Obviously there's like heroin. He goes, you interested? I go, no, thanks. I'm 15 years old.
Gotcha. When you gonna write a book?
Pretty frightening, pretty frightening.
When you gonna write a book about all these escapades?
Well, I have written a book, and so we were looking for a publisher. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Should be exciting. Should be.
Well, yeah, those kind of stories, and
yes,
all the other ones.
Yeah.
But growing up, yeah. So anyway, that's it.
That's it. Choice of instrument. You're a guitar man.
I'm principally a guitarist, but well, you know, I sent you some music and they don't have any guitar on them, and so I'm just kind of experimenting with that, you know, and
Yes.
kind of combining all the kind of music I like, everyone from you know, Henry Mancini to Berry Gordy. You know, I mean, I think these are, you know, Lennon, McCartney, Cole Porter, you know, Gershwin, Bernard Herrmann. I love all these writers, you know, Stravinsky, Beethoven. I mean, there's so many different kinds of music, and I kind of put it all together as my own sort of amalgamation of everything I've absorbed over time in school and in my professional life, and I'm coming up with this music that's slightly different from, you know, it's like my own subgenre of some kind, I think. So that's my hope, anyway.
Got you. I see that you love to compose music. In fact,
I do.
You've composed over 1,500 pieces of music for Paramount TV, Chord Worldwide, and of course Los Angeles Post Music, and many others. Who are some of the composers that you admire?
Well, as I said, you know, Henry Mancini, you know, songwriters, you know, they're composers too. It's just a different form. It's like writing lyrics and poetry. They're both literary works, but they're just different forms with different structure. And so, you know, all these writers I just mentioned, you know, Berry Gordy, Henry Mancini, Lennon McCartney,
Sam and Dave.
Sam and Dave. I mean, that's like seminal. You can't get more pure R&B than Sam and Dave, you know. I mean, and they're duos, and I mean, I got to play with Sam Moore, so you know, we made friends right. I was like, you know, we were simpatico right away, you know. I mean, I said, we got to play some Sam and Dave. Come on, Sam. And he goes, okay, we'll do it. He's like 72 at the time, I think. And he invited me over to his house in Scottsdale and for a barbecue. And I go, oh, I'm going to be calling. He goes, you better.
That was just like him. The work that you did also included national television commercials, scores, and cues for TV and film.
Yeah. That's right. I've done, well, I've got a music for a Honda commercial that's been going using, I was competing against, I think, about 15, 20 other composers.
Yes.
But as I said, I draw from these great composers, and I've got this little trick of composing. It involves, it's pretty complex actually, but I don't want to give it away on this show, but I do use something very consciously to make the music more memorable. And so those composers I mentioned all do that. Yes. And there's something, a thread that brings them all together. And that thread is the magic. And I've deconstructed it in my own way. Mm-hmm. And I started writing a book about that too. It's about songwriting and writing melodies that are memorable. And I use 5 criteria for what makes a melody more memorable than the ones that you don't remember. Right. So that's it. I was competing with a bunch of composers for this Honda commercial, and I got it. And I very consciously made it more memorable.
Yes.
Than the others, because I heard the other ones, and I go, I understand. I'm not trying to boast, but I go, I know why
you can do it. Hey.
I know why they picked mine, you know. So I've worked on Colgate, Blue Cross. You know, I've worked on a film for Stephen King. It's on Netflix, and you could hear me singing at the end. It's my score. It's a portion of the movie, and.
You also did The Cell, too, a movie with Sam Jackson and John Cusack.
That's right, Samuel L. Jackson, and that's right.
And you performed the show, song "You'll Never Walk Alone."
That's right. That's right.
Marvelous piece of work. Marvelous.
It sure is. It's a great song. Yeah.
But you're right here.
That's right.
Frank, last year you went to East LA College and gave an introduction of your meta musical field theory. Would you please explain the theory, please?
Oh well. You know, I have if I had a clone or 2 clones of myself, they would have studied neuroscience and physics because I love science. Carl Sagan said, not only is science a great source of spirituality, it's a very profound source of spirituality. And the more you learn, well, they say knowledge is power, right? Mm-hmm. So I just had this desire to learn more and more about the brain and about the cosmos, about the universe. And so I've learned, uh, I've read many books on both subjects, physics and neuroscience. And I've combined what I've learned with the elements of music. And then I found out that there's a, a, a foundational tone in the universe. It started at 380,000 years after the Big Bang, or whatever the origin of the universe was. At the one point, the universe had cooled enough that it let out this electromagnetic radiation, and it has a tone, a pitch of A flat. And they discovered that it has overtones, like the overtones in a guitar string or a piano string. And so all around us, we have this thing called the cosmic microwave background, which contains an A flat that's 50 octaves below human hearing, and it contains the same kind of overtones. They've discovered up to 6 overtones, the same overtones that you actually hear in a piano string or a guitar string or violin or whatever instrument. All instruments have overtones, and except synthesizers. Gotcha. And anyway, so in astrophysics, there are elements of music from the beginning of time, and so it's like humans didn't invent music, the elements of music were around. And so I talk about those kinds of things and about how music helps all sorts of disorders like schizophrenia, depression, insomnia, anxiety. I've learned there's a waveform, right? When you take a breath, you have a waveform that starts at the crown of your head and goes to your crotch and back. When you disrupt that, you feel anxious, you feel anxiety. And so the quick way that this is a little tip for anyone who has panic, and these times of COVID, everyone's panicking, right? So and having panic.
It says who?
So if you whistle, hum, or sing, it regulates the gases in your body between the oxygen and the CO2, and so you feel normal again. If you disrupt that balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide, you're going to feel anxiety ridden. Wow. And so you're going to feel derealization, which looks like the world looks unreal, which it does anyway now. But, I'm saying it makes it worse when you're panicking, And so I've learned to control anxiety. I've learned to control insomnia through playing some Bach on the guitar. I fall right. So I'll be in the hotel and I'll play some Bach on the guitar. If I've been smart enough to bring my guitar, I play some Bach and I just fall asleep. The guitar slips away and I fall asleep. When I was in my 30s, I had clinical depression. Well, I forced myself. So 19th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche says, creativity is your salvation. Right. So I take that literally. I just started writing songs when I was depressed. I forced myself to write songs every day. Well, pretty soon I worked my way out of my depression. And so music to me has all these applications in feeling connected to the universe. And that's spirituality to me. It's just like you are part of the universe. Other thing Carl Sagan says is, the universe made us so it could know itself. Right. That's so profound, isn't it?
Yeah. Guess what?
We are part of the universe.
Right.
And so through my way of interfacing with the universe, because I'm a part of it anyway, is right. I feel I just completely coalesce with the universe when I play music or when I'm creating. It really happens when I compose.
Guess what? We're running out of time, but we got a clip of that.
Oh my!
No, that's okay. Go roll it, Tony.
Connection between music and quantum physics, and it has to do with energy. Everything we learn changes our neuroanatomy.
Frank had a way of combining challenging creative ideas about philosophy and the universe with his own personal journey.
The alpha wave in our brain is producing an 8 hertz. Turns out it's very close to the fundamental frequency of the planet Earth.
He's talking about more than music.
Okay, Ron.
Okay, Frank, you recently, man, you got a lot of talent. Ooh, just oozes out you. You recently completed a song called Skyrocket Mix 4. Please describe the reason you did this music. You muted. Can you unmute? Frank, you muted. Frank.
Okay, how's that? Is that good? Okay, so I wrote that song Skyrocket. So there were two themes. One is the alienation we all feel from the new world we live in, which is upside down and surreal, which is, owing to a lot of factors, politically, medically, also, racially. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. It feels very unstable right now. So it was my tribute, or my answer to what it feels like for everyone today. I feel it. I had a mountain brush fire 1,000 feet away from my house, and I had to move my entire studio out of here. It was a nightmare, but so that I don't mean to digress. I'm just saying that everyone feels this sort of craziness, if for lack of a better word, and also that song touches on racism and about all the horrible things that happened recently. And so I do mention race. I say race is a fiction. And then right after that, I say fear is an addiction. I bet it's because I say fear drives racism. And so I say it's time to cold turkey.
Okay. Well, guess what? We happen to have a clip. Roll it, Tony. Get your copy to show. You'll see we put some pictures of you in there while I was rolling the music.
Well, that was nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, you and I have gotten together thanks to a lady who I love so dear, actress Eva Marie Frederick.
Absolutely, she's great.
That's my bud.
Yeah, Eva's great. And she's a good friend of mine, Drake Shining, that is a genius organist that played with Al Green and Ike Turner and Deep Purple and all sorts of people. But anyway, so he's my number one studio pianist. He's a fantastic keyboardist. And we have a little band too.
Gotcha. Frank, I hate to do this to you, but we're out of time, my friend.
We're out of time.
Back here. I want to thank you for being here today. Really appreciate your presence today, sir.
Well,
good luck, best wishes to you. We'll get you back, and you and I will get in touch with each other and talk about this.
Okay. I'll contact you.
Okay. God bless you, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah. Same to you. Okay.
This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. The studio of Harvey Brandman Photography is an Art is proud to offer you a $100 discount off any photo package valued at $200 or more. Now, Harvey's been in the business for nearly a quarter of a century, and he certainly knows how to take care of his customers. So please give him a call today at 818-954-9294. That's 818-954-9294. You'll be glad you did. And by the way, please tell Harvey that you heard about his offer right here on the Actor's Choice. Haiku, Style, Passion, Heart. It's the latest release from author and attorney Ron Irwin. Now, the book was inspired by the author's first exposure to haiku well over a half-century ago. This experience produced within him a deep passion to experience Asia, which he later did as a U.S. Marine. The book is available in paperback at lulu.com. Now, Irwin says he'll give 20% of net book sales split evenly between the veterans of foreign wars and the Vietnam veterans of America. Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. It's a book by author Larry Buford. It's a historical and faith-based account of how what we do and follow today will affect us tomorrow. The author also calls it an adventure for those who want to travel back through time. The book is now available in paperback for only $17.95 from Amazon, so please get your copy today. And now, a word from State Farm agent Carla Green. Roll it.
Let me ask you something. What do you see when you look at your home and your car? Do you see a bundle? A combo deal? That's how other insurance companies see them. But a State Farm agent sees so much more. Because the State Farm agent sees your home and your car as more than just four walls and four wheels. They see the things you've worked really hard for. So why not give them the protection they deserve? Let me help you with that. Give me a call. State Farm agent Carla Green, 213-239-9675. I look forward to speaking with you.
Okay, Ron.
Thanks, Carla. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. For more information, 213-239-96975. That's 213-239-9675. Attention all actors. An Actor Space provides classes and private coaching by veteran actor Rob Brownstein. An Actor Space has Thursday night classes for working actors and Tuesday night foundation classes and technique classes for the early career actor. Now, the idea here is to build on each actor's strength, who you are, to help you refine and reimagine your acting and your career. For more information, contact class at robbrownstein.com or call him at 323-646-1268. That's 323-646-1268. Thank you. And finally, if you have a product, a service, or an upcoming event that you'd like to see advertised on this program, please call 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. Our prices are very affordable. We thank you. This is The Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. My next guest today works in the part of the film industry where folks see their work the entire time of the movie, right there on the screen. Well, he's here today to tell us about this marvelous occupation. Ladies and gentlemen, I present colorist Gareth Cook. Mr. Cook, glad to have you, sir.
How you doing, Ron? Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Welcome to The Actor's Choice. What is a colorist?
What is a colorist? Oh, wow. A colorist is, for me, I view it as we are the unseen actor. We take the idea of the director and cinematographer and give it the mood of what they're looking for. The cinematographer goes out and shoots what he wants. The director, they discuss what kind of mood they want their film, television show, music video, commercial to be. And then somebody like myself comes after it's all shot and makes it into that for them to have their vision of what they want the piece to look like.
Okay. What do you need to get into the business? Education and or training?
It's interesting. There isn't a place really to learn to be a colorist. It's one of those things where, for me, I got into the business years ago, and I worked at a post-production facility, and I worked in the vault where shipping and receiving, and worked my way up, and I kind of was drawn to color correcting. And so you have mentors that teach you, and you sit behind, you watch, you learn, and that's really the school of it. So I actually learned while getting paid to do the job. And then it really comes down to you as the individual and how far you want to take it, and the eye that you have for seeing colors and realities, and making something that may not look, it's not supposed to look real. Mm-hmm. So and so that the audience, when they're viewing it, they believe it. They believe that that's the space that they're watching that really exists. So there isn't really a school for it. Mm-hmm. It just takes getting people to teach you, and then you take it upon yourself to take it from there.
Okay. Is there any danger involved in what you do? Acids, chemicals, things like that?
There used to be back in the day, you know, this process goes all the way back to film timing when there were films in labs, and a color timer would sit behind a machine called a Hazeltine, which basically you're putting colored filters in there. They would ask for different points of light to determine, to get the image to look the way they want. So they may add like a point of red to make it redder, or a point of blue to make it cooler. And so once that was done, then the film had to go through a chemical process, and literally a timing process, which basically means the amount of time that it's going to run through the soup that was called, or the chemicals, to expose and create a new image, an inner positive or a positive image. Those chemicals, yeah, highly toxic, but that's not done nowadays. That went away quite a few years ago, which was a little bit unfortunate to the industry, because that meant all the labs went away, which was the big thing to create actual film prints. So nowadays it's very rare that people are actually viewing a film in a theater, like a big budget movie. They're actually viewing an actual film strip. It's all digital files now. So with technology, of course, everything's done digitally. And so what you see in the theaters is really a digital file that the likelihood actually got streamed to that theater to be viewed by a projector, by the audience.
So you say goodbye celluloid and hello digital.
Pretty much. And it was actually a big change in the industry, because you had places like Technicolor and Deluxe Labs that processed a lot of this film. There's really only one major lab around that still does film processing, because there are some purists out there that shoot great stuff, like Christopher Nolan. He still chooses film as an option, and several other directors out there to, you know, get their vision out there of what they want their movie to look like. Okay.
Is this a 9-to-5 job?
It's not necessarily a 9-to-5 job. It's you have a time allotted to get a show done. So for instance, on a hour-long show for me, that could be about just the initial color correction would be, let's say, 12 hours. And then the clients would come in and view, and you'd spend another 2 to 4 hours color correcting the show with notes and stuff, and creating, just, you know, enhancing what the client is looking for. So is it 9 to 5? Do you clock in? It really depends on the situation. A lot of, in the show world, there is a pattern and formula. So, but for me as a colorist, you know, I may choose to knock out 10 hours in one stretch, or I may choose, because of what's going on, I might do 4 on one day, 4 on the next day. It all depends on the time of when it has to be delivered to the client.
Okay. In my research, I noticed different levels within the job that you do. There was telecine colorist, there was colorist, and then there was final colorist. Can you explain?
Okay, so telecine colorists are very rare now. I was a telecine colorist back in the day. Actually, all colorists were telecine colorists. And what that basically means is you have a telecine machine, which is a pretty good sizable machine that would have 2 platters on it. That film would go on one side, and it would get taken up on the other side. It goes through the machine and different optics of the machine to turn it from analog film strip, or negative, or print, or IP, to electronic. And you would sit there and adjust, basically you're adjusting red, green, and blue values to create the image. As it's going through the machine, it's being recorded to tape. And from there, it could go from there to other finishing processes, which would be like editorial, maybe titling, to get it out to the point where it goes out to create a master to go out to air. Colorist and final colorist, there's people that can label themselves as colorists, and they know how to color correct. There's a final colorist really is a person that's going to do the finishing. They're the one that what you see in the theaters, on the TV screen, on your iPad, on your iPhone, somebody made that look like that, and that would have been the final colorist. To give it that certain pop, or that certain feel, or that certain saturation, or certain moodiness. So a final colorist would do that. A colorist could be a dailies colorist, which what they're doing is they're getting the footage every day, and they're applying color so that they can go to editorial and they have an idea of what the show may look like. That's not what it's going to look like in the end, but it gives them an idea. So when they're creatively cutting, they have a mood and feel of what the show is going to be. Then there's guys that are pre-colorists, which what those guys would do is they'll pre-color a show for someone like myself. So they'll kind of put a base layer on it so that I can come behind it and really finesse it into where it's supposed to be.
As you know, in color television, they have three guns with three different colors, the main colors. Is color in movies the same way?
The idea is the same way. So the three guns are red, green, and blue.
Right.
So if you remember way back in the day when you had projection TVs, you had the front projection TVs, and you had red, green, and blue bulbs on there. Well, it takes those three colors to make up the color of an image. So in what I'm doing, I'm really adjusting the amount of red, green, and blue in a shot to make an image. So for instance, and then the mixture of those colors will turn into, so if you take red and green, if you take blue and green, in the middle, you'll get cyan.
Right.
So if you push those red and green colors in a certain way, you'll get cyan. If you take red and green, in the middle is yellow. So if you push those colors in a certain way, you'll start to get yellow. So you're really manipulating the values of red, green, and blue to get the color. And then you're also manipulating the black and white values of those colors to get an image.
You have to belong to a union.
There are unions. I don't belong to a union, and a lot of colorists don't. It depends on where you're working. So if you're working in a union house, which right now there's only a couple left, then you would have to belong to a union. But you don't have to belong to a union to be a colorist.
Gareth, let's take a look at your career. Folks, before we show you this man's work, and he's done a lot of it, please note that he has acquired 104 IMDb colorist credits. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Your first job that you got, when you first got into this business, the year was 2000, and you did NYPD Blue, your job as a telescene colorist, 22 episodes. That's taking you back.
That was, yeah. I started in the business of post in 94. And then I got my, and then that was from, like I said, working in the vault and learning and moving up the ladder of levels. And then I did dailies for NYPD Blue for a couple of seasons. And then I got a shot to do the final. Now, NYPD Blue had been on for years, and the post house that I worked at, every colorist had worked on it up until that point. So I got a shot to move from dailies to final color, and my shot was NYPD Blue. So now I'm going in one of the biggest shows on TV at the time. And the thing about that show back then, it was a show that was done differently from most shows on TV. What I mean by that is that show was color corrected from the original negative. So a lot of shows at that time were color corrected from tape, meaning that the original negative was transferred to tape, and then a colorist would come behind and color correct from the tape. Well, this show came from original negative off of a telecine machine, like I said. It was cut negative, so the negative was all cut up and spliced up and glued together to make the show. So that was how I got my start, which, that was, for me as a colorist, for any colorist, is a great way to start, because you're dealing with something so pure as the negative, nothing manipulated by anything but the camera and the exposure. And so so I did that for several seasons. Yes. Then with Stephen Boschko Productions, I still work with a few of the people that were post people then, now today on different shows. Yeah. Then I went on to a show with Boschko called City of Angels, which was one of the first primetime high definition television series. Right. That was cool. And then from there, I did this small little show that we didn't know what it was going to do. It was a pilot, and it was CSI Las Vegas. Right. And then that blew up, as we know, and so did the CSI franchise. Mm-hmm. I went on to do CSI Miami, and CSI Las Vegas really changed television. Every television shows at that point were very formulated in the way they were done. Contrast levels, black levels, was very much formulated. CSI Las Vegas was about throwing away the formula and making a show that doesn't look like anything else on television.
Got you.
And between the DP and the director and myself, we came up with that. We for me as a colorist, I just threw out the rules. I was like, let's throw out the rules and make this a music video commercial and run with it and see what happens. And, you know, they're changed. We didn't know at the time, but they're changed television from that point on, which is fun to be a part of and fun to do, but didn't know we were doing it.
We have a picture of you playing the first season 7, episode number 1, 11th of January, 2000. It was called Loogie Nights. That was your first job on NYPD Blue. I found it as I was searching around.
Oh, you actually found it, or?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
On IMDb. Go up on IMDb.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, my IMDb is long.
Everything.
Yeah.
We're trying to get IMDb to be on this show because they do a lot of great work.
Oh, they
IMDb.
The fact that they can actually record that stuff and keep track of that is fantastic.
Fantastic. Yes, it is.
Fantastic. Yeah, I use IMDb just to figure out what my resume is, because I forget. It's just it's so long.
Yes. From 2003 to 2005, you did Alias. You were final colorist there, 44 episodes. Yeah. 2005 to 2009, you did My Name is Earl. Final colorist on that one. Yes.
Yep.
26 episodes.
My Name was Earl was a fun one. That was a lot of fun to do that.
And then you did from 2011 to 2014, you did Single Ladies.
Yep.
Final colorist, 37 episodes.
Yep, that's right.
104, you worked them jobs.
Yeah.
And then in 2012 to 2015, you did something interesting. You worked on a TV movie called Scandal.
Yep.
71 episodes. You were there for a long time.
For a long stretch. Yeah, I did Scandal, and I did How to Get Away with Murder, which was both under Shondaland Productions. And in fact, jumping to How to Get Away with Murder, there's a scene, I believe it's in episode 4, where Viola Davis takes off her makeup. And when I watched the scene first before I'd done anything to it, I'm like, okay, here we go. And so I did that scene in a particular way to just make her look absolutely beautiful on both sides. So she had to look beautiful with the makeup on. And then when she went completely raw without the makeup, she had to look beautiful there. And so taking that care and making her look that way was really important. And so when I played the scene back after I did it, I was like, damn, mic drop, Emmy. I was like, just the whole scene with her acting and everything wise, I'm like, this is an Emmy. It's done. It's a wrap right here. And she then won the Emmy. You know.
And then something happened to you on December the 14th, 2015. You opened up a company called The Foundation.
Yes. So
yes,
I'd actually been working at Technicolor up until that day.
Yes.
I was working about 12 to 14 hour days almost every day. I'd take one day off on Sunday. And I was building the company from September up until the foundation from September up until that point. And then I was like, okay, I'm leaving. And I left and started this company called The Foundation. We've been up since December 14th. We started with 2 shows. And from there, just through relationships that we've built the company up to, I don't even know how many shows we've done now, but just a number of shows, and one of the players in Hollywood as far as post-production houses. And that's been fun. And we're still good, even though the pandemic, like with everybody else, it's kind of taken it's been hard on a lot of the companies, we fortunately managed to be able to weather it. And we're just now getting back working.
Got you. Moving on with your career, 2015 to 2018, you did iZombie. You were final colorist, 56 episodes. And then let's see, you sometime in May 2016, you went to a Producers Guild. You were a guest there, and you spoke about the Academy Color Encoding System, or ACES.
Oh, okay. I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. It was ACES is a interesting. Basically, what ACES tries to do is take all the different codecs that cameras are shot on, and put them in one space, one color space, literally, so that you're not fighting between the different cameras when you're color correcting a show. And so speaking of that was cool, especially with the guest speakers that we had on that. That was a good time.
We have a clip. Roll it, Tony.
The color ACES is still new, and ACES is used more in feature films than in broadcast television. I honestly can't think of a show right now that is using ACES. I haven't personally used ACES. I've been in testing with ACES for a couple of different shows, but then they never end up going down the road of using ACES because it's still fairly new and people are still trying to understand it and figure it out. And
okay.
Yeah, I think I was just looked like I was a little fatter there than I am now, which is good because I've been trying.
How do you spell fat? PHAT or FAT?
It's FAT. But I don't know if the lighting is better here or not that I've set up, but I feel a little thinner than I look in that video.
You did Veronica Mars from 2004 to 2019. You did Blackish last year. You did Blackish, 13 episodes, final colors. You did Green Rush this year, 2020. 1 episode, final colors.
That was a TV movie.
Yes.
Or it was
we got a little video on that. Can you roll that, Tony? This is Green Rush.
Your probation officer, your boss, the whole world sees you as a criminal. So you might as well just be one. Where's my 50 G's?
We owe you 15, man.
But the clock's been ticking, hasn't it?
I can get it more than that. My bosses are growers. He's got 5 times more than that.
You want to make some real money?
Let's go.
Hey, don't move! Wow, look at the colors in all of those scenes. That's basically what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Colors just magnificent. And you got to get them right on.
Thank you.
Got a few more pictures for you. Here's one. You with a couple of actors by the name of Blair Underwood and Reginald.
Yeah, they came by the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool.
Yeah, there they go. There they are. Yeah.
Find that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came by the office to visit.
Yes. Now, our next picture is a gentleman by the name of Justin Lord.
Yep.
Know him?
I know that guy. That's my dad. That's my father. Yep.
Handsome young man. And then our next photo is you hanging out with a bunch of fellas at a little party you'll have. I see you use your facilities. You got a lot of room there. Y'all can do a lot of things in there.
Oh yeah, that was a Christmas party that we had. I think that was our second Christmas party that we had.
Okay.
Those are partners in the company here.
Okay. And then you did on the next one, you did a little product training at UCLA. It was either you or someone working with you.
Yeah, that's my partner there, Cliff. And he was actually at UCLA talking to a bunch of students, and then those same students came down here the next weekend to the facility to actually see it work and ask questions. And I like doing that. I like teaching people. Yeah. I particularly actually like teaching kids because they're more excited and more into it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that was the thing that we did for UCLA.
Listen, we're running out of time. I just want to let you know, thank you very much. We really want to thank you for being here today. Really appreciate it. Best wishes to you, my friend. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography as an Art, Ron Irwin's Haiku, Style, Passion, Heart, Larry Buford's Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School and Actor Space. And much, much thanks to our guest today, musical guitarist, songwriter, musician, Frank Sames, and colorist, Gareth Cook. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing audience. Be well. We'll see you next time. Take care.